Rise and shine, it's time for D. It's for drama. I'm your host, Shannon D. And today I am joined by my friend, our partners, our besties from college. Please welcome Jessica Barshis.
Barshis, it's okay.
God,
Everyone.
I did it wrong. I was just like, how do you say your last name?
No, keep it in.
Yeah.
Everyone butchers my last name. It is totally fine. I told her, I was like, please just introduce me as Jessica. Every podcast I go on, no one can get my last name right. They're always like, this is Jessica. Not going to even try the last name. No, fun fact about me, I'm the only person in the world, or my family is the only family in the world with my last name because it was Americanized when they came over from Lithuania, which is why no one knows it. Yes.
Oh, interesting. What was it before?
Something like Barshis.
Yeah. Like something with the 10 syllables.
Something with like Z's and Y's, and I'm not even gonna I don't know. It was something very intense. So they Americanized it to Barshis. But still.
But it's soon gonna be Trigger.
It will soon be Trigger.
Because she is engaged.
We're engaged. Okay, so yeah, so this is how Shannon and I are friends. So my fiance, who's also named Shannon, which this is the funny part. She's Shannon D. My fiance is Shannon Dean. Like his middle name's Dean. So they're basically the same person.
Yeah, the first time we met, it was over the phone. Like for some reason we met on the phone and we were about to all go to a concert, but like I was talking to him beforehand. And I'm like, what's your middle name? And he was like, Dean. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
It's crazy.
So we just call each other Shanny D.
Shanny D. Okay, so my fiance Shannon is best friends with Max. And that is how we met each other. My fiance went to Loyola Marymount University, LMU, with Max.
Los Angeles.
We live in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona currently, but we came back to visit because it was one of their other best friends that they went to college with, his son's 4-year-old birthday. So it was supposed to be this big surprise. So he did not know that Shannon or I were coming into town.
And their other friend, Michael.
Dykel. We call him Dykel. I don't know why. I actually don't know why we call him Dykel.
I don't know the history of that
We just call him Dykel. So yeah, it was going to be a surprise and they flew in. Obviously Max lives here, but he still decided to dress up as Thor. My fiance, Shannon, dressed up as Spider-Man. And then I don't even know what Michael
he was Han Solo. Well, his costume didn't come in on time. Yeah. So then we just had a Han Solo costume here. So we put him in that. And then his wife, the other friend's wife, set it up with Jess that they were going to come and like knock on the door and be like the entertainment at the 4-year-old's birthday party. And it like kind of worked, but it didn't. But he was so surprised either way. But the kids were terrified.
They were traumatized.
They
were crying. Okay, so this is the thing. My fiance said he wanted to dress up as Spider-Man. It'll be great. There'll be a Spider-Man there. We're walking in. I come in after everyone goes in because I like didn't want to ruin the surprise. I see another Spider-Man and a Hulk walking down the stairs. I thought the Spider-Man was Shannon. So I was like, Shannon, who's that? And like he was like, it's not Shannon. I was like, what are you talking about? There's 2 other people and a Spider-Man costume and a Hulk costume coming down the stairs at the same time that they just walked in. So there's literally 2 Spider-Men trying to surprise the kids, a Hulk, a Thor.
Yeah, the kids are probably like, why is there 2 Spider-Man? You're ruining the...
Like, you guys know the meme where it's like the 2 Spider-Men? It's like 4 Spider-Men. They're all like, they're pointing. Yes. That was the situation. Like when they both walked out, it was 2 Spider-Men. They're both like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
The kids were traumatized and they were crying.
The other 2 guys were Andrew, the one whose party it was. They were his brothers.
Well, and that's what brought us to this topic. Because because
we were, oh my God, just kids everywhere. Every single people our age had kids at this party. We're both at the stage where, you know, that could be a possibility in the next few years. And so it's become so real for me. Like before in the past, like I always knew I wanted kids, but it was something that I was like, not a realistic thought, but now the closer I'm getting it to, the more I'm like, oh my God, like I'm terrified. And so I always ask young moms, like, do you love it? Tell me what you love about it. Tell me the pros and cons, because I'm scared. And I think like at the exact same time, you and I were asking them and we both were like, we're terrified.
Well, yeah, so we realized when we were talking, I feel like maybe the reaction that we have to pregnancies and babies and all that stuff isn't a normal reaction, and I'm slowly like still figuring that out. I thought it was pretty normal, but I am absolutely terrified of being
Yes.
pregnant. Like when I see a pregnant person, it is beautiful, and I say it's beautiful and everyone else is like, "Oh, it's so beautiful," but on the inside I'm like, this is fucking terrifying. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah.
there is a human growing inside you and it's on your organs, and it kind of just gives me a little bit of like the chills.
GBs.
Yeah, like the
Yeah.
chills, honestly.
Yeah.
My body physically is like, I don't know how you're going to do this, Jessica. So, we are both getting to the point where we have to start thinking about it seriously, and I think what resonated with both of us was we looked at each other and we were like, "Wait, you feel like that too?" Cuz I do
Yeah.
too, and I just feel like it's not talked about enough. Like maybe even if women do have those thoughts, they don't share them openly because pregnancy is like put on such a pedestal and
Yeah, and a lot of times it's like that's what we're put on earth to do. And I think our generation is definitely one of the first to like really like a lot of us aren't having kids
yeah.
and deciding not to and making more of a choice. Cause I think like my mom, I mean, I have an aunt that has kids. I have another aunt that only has stepkids. Like their generation was definitely doing it a little bit differently too, but it was kind of seems like they were just raised like that's sort of what you do. And our generation is definitely questioning it more.
Yeah, well, I also feel like for the older generations, it was almost like an instinct that was instilled in them. And because of the way that we've developed just as a human species, it's not instilled in women anymore. So you have to know exactly what you want to do. Like when you decide to get pregnant or when you get pregnant or whatever, the steps you take afterwards, you have to have an exact plan. Whereas I feel like before it was just kind of like, oh, you're pregnant, you're going to have a baby, you're going to know exactly what to
You, like,
do.
figure it out on the
Yeah.
way.
That I feel like you can't do that anymore.
Yeah, you have to, like, really plan for it, I feel like. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, not everyone has the luxury of being able to really plan for it because
Hmm.
there's stuff that happens, but because I'm always like I just feel like one day I'll know that I'm ready, and then I've also heard women being like, "Well, you never really feel ready, you just, like, decide to do it," and I'm like, "Fuck."
That's going to be me.
I think so
100%.
too.
I've heard that too. I've heard the you're just gonna
Oh.
be ready one day, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting up there, and I mean, I'm not up there yet, but like,
Yeah, no.
it's still like you have people having kids right out of college, and they're so happy with that, and I'm like, good for you. I commend you on that, but I just
I know I have a friend that right out of high school, I think, and I mean, she's gonna be like 38 when her kids are out of the house, and part of me is kind of like, that sounds kind of
well,
nice.
I grew up watching Gilmore Girls, and I wanted that
Yeah.
relationship so bad between Lorelai and Rory because she had her baby at 16. I, I remember I terrified my mom because I grew up watching that with her, and I was like, I want to have a daughter and be exactly like that. And she's like, well, I don't think that you should get pregnant at 16
Yeah.
necessarily,
Yeah.
but
She's like, all of that's gonna fall on me. So could we not do that?
she's like, maybe you should watch the show more and like figure out that it's not it's a
It's not
lot.
as yeah.
It's a lot to have a kid at 16. And I was like, but like you could be best friends with them.
Yeah. And she's like, well, aren't we best friends?
Oh.
You're like, not quite.
Nah.
All right, now are you more terrified of the being pregnant part or the having kids?
I think I'm more terrified actually of the being pregnant part. I used to nanny. So I understand that kids are a lot. I used to nanny a 1, 2, and 3-year old at the same time. Like they were like cousins and brothers,
Mhm.
and they're all boys, and they would try to murder each other all the time. I'm used to it. I can deal with it. Whatever. I,
Little boys are so much.
yes,
There's so
especially
much
when they're that
energy.
close in age
Yes,
and they
it's
are trying
too
to kill each
much
other.
for
I
me.
remember there was one time that I went on vacation with them, and I like was trying to take care of one of the boys that had just fallen on a scooter outside. Like he was wearing a helmet, but he still fell. He cut his like lip open. I was trying to take care of him. I walk inside, and one of the boys is like carrying a golf club trying to hit the youngest one with the golf club. The youngest one's running away. I'm just like I don't know
What
what
do
to
I
do
do?
right now. So yeah, so that's pretty terrifying in itself. Me
Mhm.
personally, maybe this, and I know this sounds selfish, and I've had to do a lot of reflection on this because I'm like, am I being like super selfish right now? I cannot imagine my body being so destroyed. And I think I've just seen a lot of traumatizing videos on social media. Maybe honestly, social media is the reason why a lot of women are more scared to have
Yeah.
babies because everything is out there. And maybe you know too much information. Maybe you're supposed to go into this like the
Ignorance
way,
is bliss.
yeah, the way that we're built as humans. Maybe we're just supposed to not know exactly every single detail that
That's
happens
true.
during birth and after, but now we do
Yeah.
because of social media.
Mhm.
So I I'm terrified of what it's going to do to my body. I have already decided I'm getting a C-section. I'm not breastfeeding.
Okay, so can you opt for a C-section? You can just
Yeah.
ask for it without there being an issue?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, interesting.
You can schedule a C-section right around when you're supposed to give birth. And the breastfeeding thing, I mean, there's so much crap in the
Wait,
formula.
now, can you go into labor and then have a C-section, or does it have
You
to be
can.
scheduled? Because my mom, she will attest to this. My parents, both of them always say this. I was a scheduled C-section because my sister was also a C-section. Hers wasn't scheduled though. My mom went into labor, had a C-section, but because of the way her hips were shaped, she had to have another one,
Yeah.
which honestly might be your thing too. I feel
No,
like you
I,
have
I've
small
been I've been told that
hips.
before. I have
Yeah.
inverted hips, so I might have to get one anyways. But I mean,
Might be
even
good to be
even if I
prepared, I
didn't have to
guess.
do it, I would still do it.
But and we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But my parents always, because I was a scheduled and they scheduled it for like the first day that it could possibly be. Like the doctor was like, you can't wait any longer. But they always say that they wish that they just waited for me to go into labor because I would not come out. Like I was being really difficult. The doctor had to literally yank me out. Like I clearly was not ready to come out. And I was a 9-pound baby, but my hands and feet showed symptoms that I was premature. Like the nurse was like, "Oh, she's
Oh,
premature," and my dad was like, "She's 9 pounds." And it's like, "Well, she's showing signs of actually being premature." And so they always wish that they just waited to go into labor because I was not ready. I needed to cook for a little longer. So maybe
yeah.
that's just something to think about. Like maybe you could wait until you actually go into labor, but then have the C-section.
Well, you can because, there are women that go into labor and then there are complications that
Have
happen.
to,
You
yeah.
have to have a C-section. You can also schedule it and be like,
Yes.
this is what I'm going to do. But, so many things could happen. Let's just go ahead and address this now.
Yes.
I am on a different political spectrum than Shannon, and which is totally fine. I lean more conservative. I am in the conservative space. I will say within that space, I am a little more moderate when it comes to issues such as women's rights. But that space in particular, and I'm being like very honest right now, they're very judgmental about women electing to have C-sections or trying to control their birthing process.
I did not know this at all. Like
Yeah.
I obviously knew that most of the party is pro-life,
Yeah.
which you said you're pro-choice. You
I
you don't
yeah.
you would never have an
I personally
abortion.
would not have an abortion, but I do think that the decision needs to be left up to the mother. I don't think that it should be something. So I will say I'm more libertarian.
Okay.
So there's conservative, then there's libertarian, where, libertarians more so think that the government, the state should not have a lot of say in your life.
Mm,
And that's kind of where I'm at.
I agree there.
Yeah. So,
But I
but
didn't know this part about them not being okay with like C-sections. And you said
yeah.
they like at-home births.
There's become this MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again,
Mm,
which I can get behind. I
mhm.
want our foods to be healthy. I don't want toxic ingredients in them. I don't
Yeah.
want big pharma
Mm,
trying to force toxins down our throats
mhm.
instead of trying to find the root cause of things. But there's also a different side of it, or I guess I would say like a further side, where women are trying to become more of this trad wife persona. And with that comes at home births, midwives.
Interesting. Which I'm not opposed to at-home births personally. I don't know if I would do it. I would really need to research it, but I have some friends that have done it and it does seem like because the bright lights of the hospital like
Yeah.
do seem so like jarring for a baby to come into, and I kind of like that they go into the tub, and that could be something I'm open to, but I also kind of also feel like, what if something goes wrong, because there's not a
Yeah.
doctor present, right?
Well, there's not, but there's one on call still, I believe.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I've seen women who they have midwives and they have the doctor on call, and then something will go wrong and they'll have to go to the hospital right away and then, see the doctor. But they don't do epidurals.
Oh, okay. Yes, I forgot about that part.
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest thing,
Yeah.
okay? Like,
Yeah.
if you're going to the hospital to have a baby without an epidural, you might as well do an at-home birth, because like
That's
that's
true,
really the
yeah.
only thing. Like at-home births, you can at least like get on all fours, which I guess is like how you're supposed to actually give
Yeah.
birth to a baby, is like on
Yes.
all fours, like doggy
Yeah.
style. I'm
Uh-huh.
not trying to equate doggy style to giving birth, but like that's the position you assume when you're like supposed to be birthing a child. Hospitals don't let you do it. So like the epidural really is like if you're doing
That's the
a vaginal
thing.
birth, that's the one thing. And if I was to do a vaginal birth at a hospital, I would demand them to let me get in the position that I want to get in. But
Yeah,
I
did
just
they
don't want
allow
to do
that?
that.
Do they
No,
allow that? They won't?
it depends and it's very tricky.
Interesting.
Some hospitals, some nurses, some doctors will be like, "No, you're not doing that. You're going to do it our way." They're very demanding about that stuff, and then some are understanding. So I think it depends on where you go, and I think that's where a lot of women get scared about that kind of stuff.
Okay.
About, going to a hospital if you're not going to get the epidural, if you want to try to do the birth as naturally as possible, the whole laying on your back position is not the natural way to give birth.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, I'm not doing any of it. I'm just going to get a C-section.
Yeah, there you go. And you get put under when you do a
Exactly.
C-section. Like my mom was like, yeah, I
Exactly.
just woke up and I had a baby.
Yeah, I'm like, I just don't even want to like deal with any of this or think about it. Okay, like you can judge me all you want, pass judgment. I have made it clear, like, this is just what I'm doing. I'm sorry.
Now, is part of that also because you don't want your vagina to like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Again, the social media thing. You see women, they're now posting openly about what happens immediately after birth, and you have to wear diapers and you're peeing yourself and you can barely walk. And I don't know. I don't want that. And
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot. I mean, it's a huge commitment, like for so many ways. I mean, then you have a full-on child, which we'll get into our
true.
fears about that too. But yeah, I mean, your body goes through so much as a woman, and I am looking forward to the pregnancy part. I'm afraid in a lot of ways too, but I definitely want to have that experience of like carrying
Hmm.
a child. But for a lot of reasons, like I have vain tendencies. It's scary to like feel not connected to your body anymore. And maybe there are ways that you feel more connected to it because you're like, oh my God, like I am woman, hear me roar, like look at what I can do and look at the amazing thing my body can do. And I am looking forward to that. But I'm also so scared of like my body just changing completely and feeling disconnected from myself.
The feeling disconnected is one thing. I'll be completely honest right now. And I did with my fiance, Shannon. I proposed the idea of doing a surrogate
Yeah.
because I'm getting my eggs frozen
Hmm.
because I don't want to be stressed about it. I'm not ready for a baby anytime soon. Like
Yeah.
I will just say that right now.
Same.
I need at least a few years. Which I still would be able to have a child probably, but I'm just
It's
gonna
good to
do
have
it.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, a
Yeah.
little, what is it
Safety
called?
net.
Safety net.
Yeah. A
Yes.
little safety net.
And you'd be open to doing IVF then?
Well, yeah, so I'd be open to I got diagnosed with PCOS, so it would be very hard for me to have a child naturally anyways.
Okay.
They would have to give me a shot because I don't ovulate naturally. I have to be on birth control to even have a period, or else I
Oh,
just don't get a
interesting.
period.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I just don't ovulate, don't get a period. I could go into all of that, but I was put on birth control when I was 15 and was on it ever since then. When I tried to get off of it, that's when I got diagnosed, and that was last year. That was literally last year. So that's when I found out I had PCOS, and
Birth
um
control, that's a whole other topic,
a
but
whole other topic.
yeah, it can fuck with your body bad.
But now it's kind of messed up because birth control is the only thing that regulates my cycle.
Interesting.
So it's like I have to stay on it. It's like a legit drug where I'm like, well, I just need it to have a normal cycle.
But do you think that that's because you were on it for so long?
I don't know. And I can conspiracize, like I like to say, but I do remember at a young age having cyst on my ovary. And I went to the hospital thinking that it was something with my appendix. And they're like, I think you have an ovarian cyst. So I don't want to say definitively that it was the birth control, but you just got to think. Their PCOS was virtually non existent about 15 years ago. And now
Oh.
I would say at least 40% of women I talk to have it. 100% of women I talk to know someone that has it.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we'll figure that out, I guess, eventually, what's
Yeah.
actually like really the root cause of it. But point in case, I wouldn't be able to just like naturally have a baby, probably. I would probably have to do IVF.
Oh, so getting your eggs frozen is good anyway because you'll need to
Exactly.
do it and eventually.
Yeah.
So you might as well do it when you're in the, you know, they say 30 to 35 is the best time to do it. So
Yeah.
it's good to do it now.
Yeah. Good to do it now. Okay. So this is the other thing. I want to have 3 kids
3, me too.
because I'm an only child.
Oh, okay.
And
You always
I
wanted to have siblings.
hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it so much. I felt like I did not have really, I mean, my parents are great, but like I didn't have anyone else to like go to and like, or if
A
I was
support
fighting with my
system.
parents or whatever, I want my kids to be able to have that support system. I've heard that 2 children are just like having 2 only children. Like basically.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Well, that's us, my sister and I. But I always dreamed of having more siblings. Like when I was younger, I always wanted. My dad has 5, so 6 of them. And I just always loved like the dynamic between a lot of siblings. And I
Yeah.
don't want that many kids. I always wanted 3 because I don't think I could do more than that. But at least it's like, at least it's more than 2.
Mhm.
But we'll see. Who knows?
Well, that's what you can fit in a car on a family vacation.
There you go. Well, that's
Yeah.
what my parents always said about having 2 is that it's easy because there's 2 of you and like each of you can always be holding one and things like that. And then 3, it gets dicey. But I'm like, I want 3.
Well, okay, so there's the thing. I want 3 kids, but I also don't want to be pregnant 3 times.
Yeah.
So I
Twins.
want twins.
I want twins too.
So
But
then
then
I'm
that pregnancy is
like,
even,
that
like,
pregnancy is
even
not going to be chill at
trickier.
all, which is like actually our story that we have coming up. She had twins.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in between a rock and a hard place where it's like I don't want to be pregnant that much, but I also don't want my body to get too crazy
Through
on
it.
me.
I know.
But I
it's
want
so
twins.
much. It's so
It's so
hard.
hard.
It's
It's
really
hard.
so much for
Yeah.
women. Like the guys just get off so easy with this whole thing.
I know.
It'd
I
be
know.
great to be a father, but being a mother is like a whole other
I know. If I
commitment.
was a dude, I'd be like, no,
Hell yeah.
have 3 kids, please.
Yeah,
Come
let's have
on,
as
get to
many
work.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. Well, on that note, let's get into our first story about the one you were talking about.
oh yeah.
When my boyfriend and I got together, he had told me that he wasn't initially interested in my looks because I didn't fit what he usually went for. I was naturally fit due to a high metabolism and doing yoga 4 times a week. But after he, in his words, saw how I looked naked, said he couldn't get enough. My boyfriend has said from the start of our relationship that he is someone who loves physical affection. And I grew up in a house where we didn't have physical affection. So it was a pretty big adjustment, but I learned to love it, honestly. We have been together for over 2 years when I found out I was pregnant. I was terrified, but he told me that we would do this together. We found out we were having twins around 10 weeks, and this caused a lot of anxiety for me because I was told how big I would get and how much I would stretch. And being someone who has never had much weight to me, it was scary. I sat down with my boyfriend and I told him that I was scared that not only would I not love myself, but how scared I was of him losing interest in me. Yes, it's pretty low in problems when growing a baby, but it took me a long time to look in the mirror and like what I saw. He told me that he has always been excited to be a dad and that he thinks me carrying our children is so hot. Fast forward, and I am 29 weeks and measuring the size of a full-term pregnancy with a singleton pregnancy. Wait, what does that mean? Do you know?
I think maybe she lost one of the twins.
I'm huge and have really struggled with the weight because my body hasn't handled it well. So I was put in a high risk by my OBGYN because she is worried my body will give out due to the weight. Since
That's terrifying in itself. Sorry, I just have to interrupt. Give out.
uh,
Your body's gonna give out.
that's
Okay.
not, I mean, we can get in this later, but like that's the other thing too is like I feel like I need to be like really weightlifting and stuff before I get pregnant because like I want to have muscles like before I go into it to like because I have bad knees. So I'm kind of afraid that my body is not like equipped for that weight right now.
But then at the same time, if you work out too much and you get super fit abs, your abs are gonna tear, which is a whole other issue.
Oh
Okay, we
my
can go into it. Keep
God.
going. I'm
So many
sorry.
new fears unlocked. Since about 23 weeks, my boyfriend has started to pull away with affection. This is anything from kissing me to having sex. So, this has caused me to have very low self esteem. But I started seeing a therapist and have recently started trying to cope and love myself. And one thing she told me was to put myself out there and see if maybe getting him in the mood and pampering him did anything to help. I did everything I could to make the night special for him. Candles, his favorite dinner, a massage for him, just whatever I thought he would like. After the massage, I tried to turn it more, and he turned me
Spicy.
down. At this point, it's been over a month since he has given me anything, even a compliment about my body. So when he turned me down, it wrecked me. I waited till he fell asleep, then I cried for a while in the bathroom. I decided that when he woke up, I would talk to him to see if there was anything I could do more for him or if I could do anything better. This conversation started by him saying he just wasn't attracted to me and that all he sees is someone growing a child. I asked if him seeing me this way meant that I didn't deserve compliments and affection of any kind. And he says that he loves me just as much as before, but he can't separate me from the child and it makes him feel gross. This caused me to become angry, and I'd said something I regretted, which was, well, don't be surprised if I'm not attracted to you after I give birth, and you'll be lucky if when I bounce back, I even want to touch you.
Get it, girl.
I know, I love that. This caused us both to stop, and he said, that's not the same, and it's hurtful that you would keep intimacy from me. I feel horrible for what I said because I know that what I said wasn't true, but in the moment, I felt so hurt. I did apologize, but he said it was out of line. And now he is hurt and can't stop thinking about what will happen when I give birth.
You guys, you just need to be braced for the update, which we'll get to.
Oh,
but
yeah.
there's an update after this. Okay, so
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
But this is like so infuriating, that last line there. Because honestly, I love what she said. Like, I love that. Because it's like putting it into perspective of like, okay, well, once my body does look like, if you can't have me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
Exactly.
And then for him to be like, it's not fair that you're keeping intimacy from me.
Exactly. It shocks me that she said at the end, I didn't mean it. Like after she said, like, well, don't be surprised if I'm not attracted to you, because that could actually happen. Okay. I
Yeah.
think I need everyone to keep in mind your hormones change. Once you have a baby, like everything is different. So that is actually totally plausible. And I do think that men need to understand, like, you might lose a track. I would hope you wouldn't. I know, like, Shannon wouldn't. My fiance, he's one of the best people I just know in general. But I do know stories about men that become unattracted to their wives while they're pregnant.
Mm.
Women, they change so much after they have a baby, their hormones change, and they could probably not be attracted to you anymore. So please keep that in mind. What matters is that you guys are married. You
Well,
guys are
actually, I
going to
guess they're
work
not,
on
but
it.
whatever. They're having a kid together, so
Oh,
either
they're not
way.
married.
Well, they're boyfriend and girlfriend, but still, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's more of a commitment to have a kid anyway.
You guys are together. You need to work through that stage. Like, if that happens, okay. Like, you can't help that. You can't help that sometimes, but you just need to, as a good person, be there for your partner, which women are for their husbands after they give birth. They just gave birth, their body is wrecked. They're having to take care of a newborn as well. Whether you decide to even breastfeed or not, which I'm not, but like, every woman that does, that is such a
So much,
commitment.
so hard on your body. It's like multiple times a day you have to be pumping or feeding them in the middle of the night. Like it's really difficult on the body.
Exactly. You as a partner need to understand that and be there for your partner as a decent human being.
And I'm sorry, you know how many times I've had sex when I wasn't in the mood? Like,
Yeah.
help her out. She's asking to feel intimacy and to like feel sexy. Obviously, she's going through a lot and she's feeling disconnected from her own body. She's carrying your child. The least you can do is show her intimacy, even if it's not full on sex and you feel weird because your child's in there, whatever. I think that's such an immature outlook. But you can be giving her kisses and hugs and love and tell her she's beautiful. What you were saying earlier about like her hormones could be changed and she couldn't be attracted to you. I think there's also a case that can be made where like she's not attracted to you because of how you're treating her right now. Like she
Yeah.
could then turn around and be like, well, I have resentment towards you now because when I went through one of the most difficult and challenging things I could go through for us to have a child together, and you weren't there to make me feel special and loved and beautiful. Now I'm fucking pissed and resentful towards you. So like why should I then give myself to you after you made me feel like shit?
No, exactly. And that, I mean, that's probably why you would not feel attracted. That's why I'm saying women might not feel that attracted to their partner right after pregnancy because their body is going through hell. Maybe the man does not, obviously, men don't experience the same thing. So you probably have a little resentment, anyways, right? And I think it's normal. I think it's totally normal for women to not be like, I'm so attracted to you right after I had a baby, right?
Oh yeah, well you can't even have sex for a period of
Well, I
time.
know that, but then on top of that, if you're not being supportive
Yeah.
to your partner, that just like adds on a whole other layer. That is so
Oh,
unattractive. So
totally. I
unattractive.
have to be like feeling emotionally stable with my partner to like really want to be sexual with them.
Yes.
Cause it's like if we're not connected in that way and there's an underlying thing happening or we're on a different page or something, it's really difficult for me to put myself out there in that way because it's just not enjoyable and I don't want to be doing that. So if this is how you're treating her when she is bringing your child into the world, I
That's
don't
so
blame
unattractive.
her.
Yeah.
That's so unattractive.
I was actually shocked that she added the last line that was like, I didn't mean what I said. I was like, why didn't you mean what you said? I would be completely unattracted to this guy at this point.
Well, that's what happens so often in relationships, at least heterosexual ones, is like a woman will like say something to the man and then he like becomes victim and turns it around
Oh
onto
yeah.
them and then they're the ones that have to end up apologizing when it's like you were just speaking your truth. But I do think as women we do tend to like want the boat not to be rocked, you know? We kind of like
hmm
want to be in a good place. So then when we see them upset, we're like, okay, never mind. I didn't mean it. But the problem from the start is that you're deflecting
Yeah.
because of what she said instead of going back to what the root of the cause was, is that you're making her feel insecure.
This is completely like a victimhood situation where he's like, I'm a victim.
I can see myself like walking it back and I wish she didn't and I hope that I don't do that in the future, but I can see myself doing that too, which sucks.
I feel like every woman's like this, where they read a story and they're like, why would she do that? Like,
Then
it's
you're
so
like,
easy to say that, but when you're in the
yes.
same situation, you would do the exact same thing.
So let's all not do this, okay, ladies? Oh, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. When did he tell her that he wasn't initially attracted to her? Keep that to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Keep that to yourself. I don't think that's anything she ever needs to know.
Wait, that really confused me when I read that.
All right, so let's read it again. When we got together, he had told me that he wasn't initially interested in my looks because I didn't fit what he usually went for. So he told her this before they even.
Before they,
Oh, so this it wasn't even like months later he brings it up. He's telling her this before they even got together
apparently.
or when they first got together. So I'm sorry.
I'm
Okay,
assuming
okay.
he means physically attracted and like, but he likes the emotional attraction or something.
I guess it sounds like he wasn't initially interested in my looks. I guess it almost sounds like to me that he didn't like what her face looked like because then when he quote saw how she looked naked, he couldn't get enough. So seems like he liked her body, but he wasn't initially attracted to her face or something, which is like, I'm sorry, but the face is the one thing that's like
Yeah.
stays longer. I mean,
Actually-
your eyes, your smile, like that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. Like you need to love that. You can't fall in love with someone's body because it's going to change.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can love it, but that can't be the part of the looks in your partner that is the number one thing that you love about them. You're being a little too honest, I think. Like just tell a little white lie, babe. We don't need to know the truth.
Yeah, let's just skip past that part. We won't even think about it. Let's just think about all the awful things that happened next.
Yeah. Just tell us we're beautiful all the time,
Yeah.
okay? No matter if we are or not.
Right.
Oh my God, wait a minute. Max recently got me, we just had our 10-year anniversary, and he got me a book made with all pictures. And at first, it starts out really nice. It's all these amazing photos of us together, right? We're looking cute. There's like us dressed up in costumes. It's us like being silly. It's us dressed up at weddings. And then the last 5 pages of the book is just pictures he took of me sleeping. I was like, Max. And I looked hideous. And also all the other pictures he chose of me are really not great either. And I was like, I look hideous in these photos. And
Okay.
he was like, "What? I think you look so cute." He was like, "I think you look so good." You guys, I actually don't even know that I can post these. Like they're so bad.
Okay, well, I need to see them personally.
Honestly, it's
But
right here. Let me just show you.
no. This is the thing. Because Max and Shannon are so cute, I'm like, okay, that's really cute. But guys, do not
No,
take
don't do
pointers off of it. Don't do this because oh
Look at
my
this one.
goodness.
I look like, first off, I'm balding. I look like I have a mullet.
Wait, that's so cute though.
It's not
That's actually
cute.
so cute. There's somewhere like he's in it and he's like laying next to her and smiling and she's sleeping. Yeah, she'll
I'm
show you.
showing on the YouTube. It's a whole page of the exact same moment, different angles of the selfie, like 18 photos. But so all of the moral of this story is that you have to find someone that thinks you're cute at your absolute ugliest.
Absolute worst.
Yeah.
Yes. So when I went off birth control, I didn't understand what was happening to me because I didn't know I had PCOS at the time. My face was breaking out like crazy. I gained so much weight and I
really?
didn't know what was happening.
Mhm.
And Shannon was like, I'm here for you, like through the ugly, through everything.
Aw.
Shannon, my fiance, but
Yeah.
she probably would have been,
there
too. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not your friend anymore. You look those
Yeah.
pimples. No,
You're freaking hideous. Please never come near me.
I
Okay.
don't want to be seen with you.
Like I never gotten acne before, and that's probably because I was on birth control like from such a young age, and I was experiencing it for the first time. It was like I was going through puberty
Yeah.
for the first time, and Shannon was there for all of it, and he was like, "I do not care." Like,
Aw,
so
see,
that's what you
take notes.
exactly.
Let's get into the update, shall we?
Yeah, let's do the update. Oh my gosh.
He was sleeping with someone else. He came home drunk, crying, saying how it's been so hard for him to even look at me after sleeping with a woman from work. And he's sorry that it took me asking about this change in his behavior to tell me.
I feel like this happens where husbands tend to cheat on their pregnant wives because of the body changes, because they
Yeah.
were never initially completely in love with them or enamored by them, and they're probably assholes. And so, like, this
Well,
was always you know,
Exactly. And that's going back to that he was only attracted to her once he saw her naked, where she was doing yoga 4 times a week and had a fast metabolism and blah, 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 blah. It's like temporary things, like things
Yeah.
that can change so easily
Mhm.
from life events. And pregnancy is one of them.
You get fat when you're pregnant. News
Yeah,
flash.
news flash, buddy.
You get
This
a little
is-
fat when you're pregnant.
This is so infuriating. And then he instead of taking accountability, he then insults her and tells her that he's not attracted to her. That's why he's not sleeping with her, which I guess is kind of the reason why. But instead of owning up to the fact you were having a fucking affair with a coworker. It's one thing if it was like a random person, but I don't know. It's more insult to injury of being a coworker, someone that you're with every day. And to go and do this when they're pregnant, like, oh,
But I hear about that all the time.
no, I know.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Khloe
like,
Kardashian.
yeah, it's when women get pregnant that men will go sleep with other women. I thought this was supposed to be an attractive thing for men.
I know. I mean,
I
they
thought bearing children. Well, and even in this post, the guy's like, "Oh, you carrying my children is
so
so hot."
hot.
Quotation marks, so
Yeah,
hot.
I mean, I guess you don't know until you're there, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay if you are unattracted to your partner for a period of time. It happens. Like
Yeah.
stuff happens where
Yeah.
you're not going to be like, oh my God, like absolutely obsessed with wanting to rip their clothes off. So it's all right if there's like a few month period where you're not wanting to do that. But I think you should always be giving intimacy, hugs, and kisses and making them feel beautiful. And also, don't then take that as a sign that you can go and cheat because you're not getting it for a few months. Grow up. You can go for a few months. If you really can't look at your partner and you can only think of the child, then I think it's okay for you to go without sex for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and this happens with women too. When someone is at their worst, and I'm not saying pregnancy is the worst for
No,
a woman,
no.
but
A lot of times they're glowing.
yeah, I hope I'm glowing.
I
I'm
know.
like, I'm gonna
Same.
be a disaster.
Same.
It probably will be my worst, but we'll see. Uh, I'm like, when
I
your
know.
partner is at your worst, that's when you give 100%. The scale is always 100%. You're never going to be giving 50-50 both partners. One is always going to be at a worse state than you, and it's
True.
going to vary. You're going to have to make up, like that's just the point of being with someone for life.
Absolutely. And I think that it's all about picking the right partner and knowing, like, I know that Max will be like the best partner when it comes to when I'm pregnant. And I know he'll be the best father. Like, I just know he's such a caretaker. And I know he'll just be equally as excited. And I know a lot of times you can't choose, like, I mean, well, yeah, you can choose who you're a partner with, but sometimes things happen and people reveal their true colors later in life as well, whatever. But at the end of the day, it is about like choosing the right person. Not to victim blame her at all, but well, I think it's also just about seeing the red flags when they pop up. Like, I do think his first sentence was a huge red flag. And if you knew that from the beginning, that he was only attracted to your body, I think we got to be
Yeah.
more conscious of the red flags
Yeah.
when we see them.
Yeah.
Again, not to victim blame, but just for a warning out there to other women when you hear things like that. Ding, ding, ding.
And I feel like it's so easy for women. And again, we read these stories and we're like, she should have seen this, she should have done this. And it's so easier said than done because when you're actually in the situation, it's different. And I know that's how it is for
Yes.
every single woman.
Totally.
I know that we all read stuff all the time and we're like, why would she do that? Like, why all this stuff? But
Oh, I give advice all the time on the podcast, and I'm like, why can't I listen to my own advice?
yeah, we gotta detach ourselves sometimes, which is hard to do. Sometimes you feel like you're in this very loving relationship, like I felt many times before in my past, and you can't detach yourself. You're like, no, no, no. Like I would have said, I would have given myself advice about like doing this differently, but like now that I'm in it, and this is what I'm gonna do, and like it's different this time, whatever.
Rose-colored lenses.
It's so hard to detach yourself from that type of situation, and I'm sure she was like, "Well, this is different, like, he treats me a certain way, and it's just different. It's
Yeah.
never different. It's never fucking different. I'm gonna tell you guys
Yep.
this right now, if there's one piece of advice I can give you, it's never fucking different, okay?"
Meaning like it's never gonna change.
No, I mean, like, if you're thinking like, "Well, I have to accept this, like, I have to accept that he does this to me because it's different." It's
Oh,
never
different with
different.
him kind of
Like,
thing.
yeah, like, it's different this time. Like, it's like, we have a relationship no one understands, or like, this is different. It's not different. If there is a red flag, there is a red flag, and that is the one piece of advice that I can give to the world.
There you go. Signed, sealed, delivered. Well, let's
I'm
finish.
yours.
I'm yours. All right, let's finish the rest of this update. So she said, I never thought this shit would happen at 22. Oh, so she's really young. She's
Oh.
22. I didn't realize they didn't say that before how old they were. Damn. And having twins in a few months, but at least now I have some clarity. He has been begging and crying at our bedroom door for me to talk to him for over an hour about me not leaving him. And then we have an update number 2. 1, I do own my own home. So after a few hours of letting him sleep drunk on my floor, I did call his mom to come pick him up. So he is gone. I saw a few people telling me to get tested for STIs, so I will be contacting my OBGYN to have a full workup, hopefully Monday. 3, as for support system, it's really only me as I live 6 hours away from any relative. I don't know where to go from here. All I feel right now is stupid. And now that I have finally sat down, I am so unbelievably terrified of doing this alone. But as some of you have said, the babies are what's important, and I want to try and give them better than I obviously am.
Oh my God, girl,
Oh,
no.
that's
You
really
own your own house at
sad.
22?
Yeah, literally. You're doing
Excuse
great.
me?
Holy fuck.
I don't know if she's going to see this, but like you own your own place at 22 and you're letting
You're doing
your
amazing, sweetie.
parasite like sleep on the couch because he's drunk. You are doing amazing, sweetie, okay?
Yes.
Please understand that.
Do you feel like she should forgive him at all or
No.
no? Yeah.
No. Are you kidding me?
Ain't gonna change.
Ain't gonna change. And like,
And the fact that he has you feeling insecure about yourself and going to therapy about it and all this stuff, like, fuck him. Fuck this man. He sucks. He's obviously extremely immature.
mhm,
And I'm not even gonna like give him a pass that he's young because
exactly. Like, I wouldn't have not been surprised if it was people in their 30s.
I know. Yeah, true.
It still happen.
All right, shall we get into story number 2?
Let's do it.
So I recently found this column in The Guardian that's called You Be the Judge. And 2 people write in with both sides of their story, which is perfect for my segment. There's 2 sides to every pancake.
I actually love that. Like, I love that we get 2 sides. I feel like this never happens.
Oh, I know. And that's
So we're about to dissect it right
yeah,
now.
let's see it.
Yeah.
The first side. My best friend and housemate Liz is 32, like me, and an all around fabulous human being, but she's obsessed with dating and babies and just won't let up on the subject. She's always sharing toddler memes. I think she thought she would be the first in our friend group to get married and have kids, but she broke up with an ex 2 years ago. That's when we moved in together. Liz says she's feeling the pressure to find someone as most of our friends are married or dating, and I empathize. I'm in the same boat. We live in a big city where app dating is the usual. Though while I take breaks from dating because I find apps tiring, Liz is constantly chatting to someone. I know her baby focus is driving this, but sometimes I wish she'd just slow down. Liz always regurgitates a lot of toxic information about fertility that I don't think is true. I remind her that we have lots of time left and that having a baby with the wrong person would be worse, but sometimes it falls on deaf ears. She's literally said, I'm running out of time. I think she should relax a bit. Living with Liz is so much fun. We have girly chats about our dating escapades and lots of nights in, but when she's seeing someone, she can completely fall off the radar. She was dating a guy for 3 months recently, and for that whole period, I didn't see her. She was constantly at his. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I was happy to be a shoulder to cry on, but the next week, Liz was on another date. She gets so invested each time. I know that at the heart of all of this is her worry about not having a baby by the magic age that she has in her head, which is 37. But that's 5 years away. I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world for either of us if it didn't happen by 37 because we lead full, interesting lives. Liz tells me it's not the same for me as I am married to my job as a lawyer, whereas she is an artist and has more time on her hands. I also want kids and a partner, but I'm just happy to wait until the right person comes along. I'd love for Liz to try to stay focused on herself until the same happens for her.
So this person wrote in, told this story, and then the Guardian reached out to actual Liz and was like, "We need your response right now."
I don't know.
This is investigative journalism at
Yes.
its core.
I actually don't know how this works. I think that they write in, like friends will write in together and be like, let's
Okay.
try and get like
Okay.
other people's opinions or like
Yeah.
partners and roommates and things like that. That's
Okay.
what it seems like to me.
Okay, let's see Liz's response
Well,
right now.
let's talk about Maggie's perspective first and then we'll get into Liz. I do think that there is a pressure for women societally to have kids at a certain age. I actually heard that like they call them mature pregnancies now. They're not doing geriatric anymore. It's
Thank the
mature.
Lord. I mean, still mature
I
is not
know.
good, but like
Better
geriatric
than
was like
geriatric. I'm like, Jesus Christ, are we 80 years old? But I've heard this. I didn't look into it, so forgive me. But I have heard that it actually doesn't even drop off that much after 35, that there's almost like this thing that the medical field does to like keep women having babies younger. It's almost like a part of
really.
the patriarchy of like I
Wait,
don't
I
know, you
haven't heard
guys. I
this.
need to like find the article that I read this, aka probably a TikTok video that I saw.
No, I would believe it though, because my mom, she was told she couldn't have kids anymore when she married my dad because she was older.
How old was
And
she?
I think when she married my dad, she was 36.
Okay.
And then she was told she couldn't have kids anymore. She had me at 37, which
Yeah.
like back then,
Yeah.
nowadays
Now that's like
that's normal,
normal.
but back then it was like unheard of, I
Yeah, I
guess.
heard that it doesn't like the percentage that it drops down is actually like not as bad as we all think it is. Like
Yeah.
I think people we're told that it's like impossible or something. Like I do feel like it is like, oh my God, if you don't have them by 35, you're fucked.
Could be patriarchal because the patriarchy wants women to
Well, I
raise
think
their
they, yeah,
children
be
and
home raising their
yeah.
kids and not going off and having these full
Mhm.
lives. Well, that's the one worry that I do have about having kids older because I want to have them at like 38, 40, 42. Like I want to be like late 30s, early 40s having them
Same.
is being with my kids for less time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like once I have them, like I will love them so much and want to have so much time with them. And hopefully I live a long time and hopefully our generation lives even longer than past generations because of health advances in science, whatever. But I do get really worried about that I don't have as much time with them and that I'll feel like I was being really selfish.
Okay, so this might also be where I'm a little disconnected from the whole having children thing because I personally, and I obviously like, I don't know what's going to be like once I have children, but I would be like, you guys grow up, get out of the house, and like let me and
Yeah.
Shannon like have our life.
Enjoy our time.
Like,
We're
that's why
done
I'm
with
like,
you.
I don't,
You're like,
I don't
what do
know
you
about
mean?
that.
Yeah, but you will love when they visit.
I don't know. We'll see once I have children.
Are you sure you want to have kids?
No. Okay.
Sounds like you might not even want them. All right, let's get back into this. We really went on a crazy
Sorry,
tangent.
I went on a tangent.
I do think sometimes like having a specific timeline in your mind, like, that saying of you make plans and God laughs or whatever it is, the universe laughs, whoever you believe in. It is true. Like you can plan and you can try and manifest your life and put all your ducks in a row for as much as you want your life to turn out a certain way. But this is out of your control. Like meeting someone that you actually want to have kids with, I think that she should hopefully be going about her life more trying to meet the right partner and not trying to meet who you can just procreate with.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about in the last story, is you picking the right partner really is one of the most important things when it comes to having kids. I mean, neither one of us has kids, so we're kind of armchair experting it here. But I do think that dating with that intention could be almost like a hindrance to your dating experience.
Well, I also think what she's talking about right now is kind of a means to an end instead of the path to getting there. All she's focused on is having kids
Babies.
by a certain time. It's a little robotic, if I'm being honest.
And I do think she would end up settling
Yeah.
because she wants it done by, I mean,
She
literally she has
just
5 years. Like you've got time. But I mean, time goes by quickly. Let me tell you. I just feel like she would be settling just for a specific outcome instead of like finding someone that you really, really want to be with.
I mean, and it kind of sounds like that's what she wants. I know people like that. My ex was like that, to be honest.
He wanted kids
He had a vision in mind and he wanted to accomplish that vision. He wanted a blonde wife and he wanted kids by a certain age. When we broke up, like it threw a wrench in all of that, and he got another blonde girlfriend immediately and they had kids immediately.
What does he have, a blonde fetish? What
Uh,
is this? Stepford
Probably.
Wives, like white picket fence? Like
Yeah, I don't
that's
know.
giving so that's
But no, but
weird.
I could tell like he had this life vision in mind, and it wasn't about like how you got there. He just was like that's what I
That's
want
what
to
I
do.
want.
And I want to have kids by this age, and we're going to do that. And so like, like he made up for it, found another girlfriend right away. They got married literally right away and had kids. I was like, I just feel like some people, that's all they want, that they have a goal. They're going to do whatever they can to get to that, even if it means maybe not going through some of the life experiences you're supposed to do
Mhm.
when you're falling in love or whatever. And some people are just okay with that, which is fine. If you're okay with it, you're okay with it.
Well, because that's the other thing too. Like, if I'm thinking about it, you were saying with like people have goals in life, is like, really, is what she doing that bad? Like, she's just dating. She's dating a lot. She says she has the free time to do it, and she wants to. I actually remember when I got together with Max. That year, I literally was like, I want to get a boyfriend this year. Like, I'm sick of being single. I want to have a boyfriend. It was the start of the year. I said that. I went on so many dates. I was on the apps. I was meeting people in real life. I was asking friends to hook me up. I was like talking to 10 different guys at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Max came into my life that way. And actually, I wasn't even like seeking him out or anything. Like, the way I met him wasn't any of those means that I was going by. But I was like, I made it a goal, and we started dating February 9th that year, like a month and a week.
Yeah.
So is it really that bad to like have this goal in mind and like putting all of your efforts towards this? I can see why, as a friend slash roommate, it does suck when your friends get into relationships and they stop hanging out with you and they only prioritize their relationships and men. But I've been there. I'm not going to lie. When Max and I first started dating, I spent so much time with him that year. And my best friend just moved out here. You guys know her, Maddie. I think she was a little bit like, you're not like, I just moved out here. I'm new to the city, and you're just spending all your time with this guy. So I've been there. I can't be hating on her too much, but it's not the best thing to do to your friends. Eventually, I came back around.
I agree. I do know that I've been in relationships where I had pulled away from my friends and it was not the best for me. And I've carried that with me through my other relationships. I'm like, I cannot
Do
lose
that
sight of my
again.
friends.
Yes.
At the same time, I don't blame this girl. If she has goals, like I'm not even saying it's a bad thing. If you have goals and like all you care about is
Yeah. Having a kid,
reproducing,
put all your eggs in that basket
reproducing, having
then.
some babies, like that's all you want, like that's your choice. That's what you can do. As long as like your partner's okay with it, then do it.
Yeah.
So like
Although that's the other thing, is we were saying in the beginning episode how it's been the norm to not be super open about the struggles of like whether women want kids or not. I have found on social media, specifically TikTok, a lot more women have been talking about the struggles of how hard it is to have kids. And I've really appreciated hearing the other side of it. And one woman, she had a baby girl. She wanted a baby girl like forever. She always dreamed of it. Her dream was to be a mom. And now that she is a mom, she was saying how she regrets making that her dream.
yeah.
And I do think that a lot of times there are women who motherhood becomes their identity. And that is one fear of mine. I don't think I would let that happen because I have all of these goals and dreams and passions and friendships that I want to nourish. But I do worry about like not reaching those goals in time and then feeling really resentful of my children that they took away my opportunity to reach those goals. And I'm afraid to just be so upset the rest of my life that I didn't get there. I mean, that's why I need to be grinding the next few years. But there's that too. Like, it's just, but I also do think that there is a world where you can have kids and still get your goals. But I need to like keep that in mind. I've had friends that I really do like look up to how they've been able to have that balance. So I'm like, okay, I think it is possible.
I know that being a mom is like everything. And like I'm sure once I become a mom, I'm going to understand it. I
Totally.
don't understand it right now. I just don't.
I think it's something
And
you have to experience.
yeah.
And I do also think that being a stay-at-home mom, at least for a period of time, sounds beautiful too, because I want to be able to connect with my kids and bond with them.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would want to do that forever, but maybe like the first few years, like that does sound really nice. And I do think I want to be super present for my kids, especially in the beginning. But I think that's where then you start like to lose yourself because you're like, wait a minute, like who am I now? I'm giving all of myself to these tiny little humans, and but I'm still a human too.
Well, and one thing, I'm Christian. One of the doctrines is that you are supposed to love your partner before you love your kids. Like
Yeah,
that,
I've
and
heard
that's one thing
that.
I hold on to. I'm like, because I see it all the time where, moms and dads, they will love their kids more than they love their partner, and that's what leads to issues. I've actually always loved that about Christianity. I'm like, that like rings a bell with me. I would want my partner to be on my side, before we start
Procreating.
loving our kids more and like being like, well, you're not doing what I want you to do, like I always think you need to have that connection with your partner. If you don't have one, you're a single mom or dad raising kids, then just go for whatever you want to do. That's great. But like if you have a partner, you have to love them and respect them more than you put your kids first, basically.
Yeah, I've heard that like theory in the past few years. I actually don't remember because we actually just discovered last night that we were both raised Methodist, right?
Yep.
I've fallen off as an adult, but I don't remember learning that specifically growing up, but I have heard that more in recent years, like not even just Christianity, but
In general.
in general,
Yeah.
that they were saying that it is important to put your partner first because it then teaches your children a healthy
To do the same thing.
to do the same thing in the
Yeah.
future and like that you should be a united team. And at first, when I first heard that, I definitely was like a little jarred by it. I was like, what? Like, I'm not putting a man before my kids.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more about being like a united front
Yeah.
together to then show them a beautiful example of what a partnership is, of what a team is. And it's easier raising kids when you're on the same team about stuff.
Probably definitely easier. I will also say, like, you have to love your kids. You choose to love your partner, or, like, you choose to fall in love with your partner. And I just think it's important to keep that throughout your entire life. This is what I was kind of saying before. You're going to have kids, you're going to raise them to be their own little humans. And I'm excited about that part. I'm excited for them to forge their own lives, for me to support them however I can. But then they're going to go off and they're going to have their own lives. And then you're going to be
Yes.
back with your partner that it all started with. And you need to understand, like, this is the person I chose to do my life with. And we had kids and they were successful and we did everything we could for them. But like, it's you and I till death. Till
Right.
death do us part,
Yeah.
right?
And that does happen a lot is that parents will put so much of their time and energy into their kids and that's all their relationship becomes about is the kids. And then once a lot of times they become empty nesters, they have to like get to know each other
Yeah.
again, or they end up divorcing because they don't have anything in common anymore. And yeah, that's why you do have to keep the romance alive.
You have to keep it alive, even if like sometimes you don't feel romantic with each other, even if like sometimes you're like, ugh, like we're just like parents trying to like keep these kids going. Like we're trying to take them to soccer practice and dance practice and like we're just going through the motions. You have to at the end of the night remember like, hey, like we did this together. It's you and I against the world, basically, is what I think. So
Let's read Liz's defense because I do not know.
we went off on such a tangent.
know.
We're going back to Liz's defense
I know,
now,
I'm
guys.
sorry,
Okay.
guys. Half
No,
an hour ago.
that was my fault. That was my fault.
No, you're good. We're both doing it. All right. So the defense, Liz. I am dating a lot at the moment, but so are all my friends. I think there's more pressure on all of us since turning 30 because the biological clock is tick, tick, ticking. Maggie says I read too much information about fertility and babies, but the stats and facts that I find online can't all be wrong. I know that there's no quote magic age for getting pregnant, but I'd personally like to be all sorted before 37. My mom had her third child by then, but at this rate, I would love to at least just have one. I probably do date more than Maggie, and because we live together, she notices it more than our other friends. My job isn't as consuming, and dating is what I want to prioritize right now. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Maggie and I have known each other since university, where I had a long term boyfriend. I suppose I was the one who talked about marriage and babies the most because I was the only one in a relationship, but that ended after graduation. I got into another relationship, which ended after 5 years. I've had a few weddings in the past year, which is maybe why I've amped up the dating. Maggie and I moved in together after both finding ourselves single at 30. It's been great, but I do think we have different approaches to dating. Maggie is just much more matter of fact. She will cut someone off for any little discrepancy. She once stopped talking to a guy because he wore odd socks on a fancy dinner date.
I love that.
I
What are
am
you
much
kidding?
more, I know. I am much more, let's see how it goes, but I also tend to dive in head first, which Maggie says is my biggest mistake. I appreciate her words of comfort in hard times. And of course, when she has a bad date or two, I do the same for her. I know she wants what's best for me, and I could definitely be more communicative when I'm dating someone. But she said that I disappear, and that's true. But I do want to find a partner, and that is taking a large portion of my energy. Yeah, I mean, I can't really blame her. I mean, I think the only thing is, as we were saying before, like maybe putting too much pressure on it can sometimes push it away. But
I mean, can I be honest? I just don't think these girls should be friends.
yeah, it almost seems like a little bit too much like entanglement.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about this on the roommate episode that I did, but it's kind of like the best roommates are ones that you're like kind of acquaintances with. And
Yeah.
sometimes it can be amazing to live with best friends if you really are compatible. It seems like for the most part they are. But sometimes you then become too entwined with each other's lives where it's like, okay, do you need me around all the time? Like I'm trying to date.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I can kind of see both sides at this point. I think both of them are entitled to their opinions and their feelings, and it just seems like they're conflicting in terms of like what both of them want. So
Yeah, it's almost like too wrapped up in like get out of her business.
true.
What do you
Yeah.
care that she's dating a lot? I think
Yeah.
it's mostly, I guess, just that she's not around and she drops her when she starts dating the guys. Do you think that's kind
Exactly.
of her main concern?
Probably. And in that case, I do side with the woman who is trying to date guys because at some point, like,
It is going to happen. I mean,
it's
you
gonna
do
happen. Yeah.
definitely as you get older. I mean, I used to hang out in my early 20s when I was first out here. I'd be hanging out with my friends on a weekly basis, like multiple friend groups almost every single night, like partying, having fun. And as you just get older, your priorities start to shift.
Mhm.
Like we kind of went out last night. We're going out now. Like that's big for us at this age, you know?
Well, it is because we're visiting. There are multiple people visiting, so we're like, we gotta go out, I guess.
Like we're definitely at that age. And Max and I were talking about how like we're like we want to still like have a lot of fun and travel and stuff before we settle down. And
Yeah.
we both were like, well, then we need to like start doing that now. Like we're already feeling like we're not doing that anyway. So it's like, what are we I guess we might as well have fucking kids right now because we're not doing that as much as we should be. But we really need to make that a priority in the years that we're single, at least. But I do also think that you can have fun when you have kids too.
Hmm. Well,
She's like, I don't know. No, like my bestie Michelle from back home, they're going to sports games all the time. She gets dinner with her girlfriends constantly. Like they seem like they do a really good job with it.
yeah.
And that's what also this girl might be worrying about is that she's gonna lose her friend to like having kids.
Yeah.
Cause I think we've all been there where like we lose our friends a little bit when they do have kids because it's just a totally different lifestyle. I mean, Andrew, the guy who had the party last night, like I mean, their whole family. There's four boys. They all have wives. They all have kids. Like they are all so in that world, and we
Yeah.
rarely see them anymore because they're just. I mean, they have to. They have to get sitters. They have
Mhm.
to like, prioritize their children. They're breastfeeding things like
Yeah.
that. So it is interesting when your friends are just in a totally different phase in their
Totally
life.
different world.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it is back in Arizona. I just feel like there's some friends that I love to death, but we can't see them as much as we want to just because they have a kid. And, I still think they're having a great time. Like,
Yeah.
but I don't want to be. right now at least. I don't want to be the couple that's like, oh, yeah, we can't because we have a child, you
No.
know?
Can you tell we're not ready?
No, we're not ready.
Can you tell?
We're not ready.
I don't know if you've heard.
Unless that hasn't been completely
Clear.
obvious at this point.
All right, so let's see what some of the jury says.
Okay.
If Liz would like to be all sorted out by 37, there are various ways and means, but this isn't really about babies. Rather, Maggie seeing her and Liz as a couple. Most telling is Maggie saying that she, quote, doesn't think pregnancy would be the worst thing for either of us. Okay, so this woman is saying that they're like kind of intertwined.
They're like,
I think not sexually, but like, you know, when like my friend and I had this years and years ago, it's like we kind of became each other's like boyfriend, where it's like nothing romantic or anything like that, but we were like texting each other all the time. We relied on each other for like emotional support in the same way that a boyfriend would provide or a partner would provide.
Like if you had a life update, you would text them immediately and be like, this is happening.
That was the person I would turn to. And it almost seems like that is what's going on here. Or at least Maggie doesn't want to lose her best friend in that way.
Yeah. Like I did stop talking to a lot of my friends when I got a boyfriend, but they've all been very understanding. So I just think it depends, you know?
But then did you like get back with like, was it the initial?
No, I still talk to them all the time. I'm just like not constantly on my phone and like texting people back. And I've never been like that. I'm not like a big phone
So they know
texter
you're like
person.
that anyway.
They already know I'm like that. But I will say before, you know, I was in a serious relationship, I was texting all my friends back right away more frequently because they were like
your emotional
relationships.
support. Right.
Yeah. And now that I'm in one and I have like an automatic person that I can tell everything to, I'm just kind of like, okay, like gotta text this person back, gotta text this. And I love them to death. I'm just not a big texter. So that's
I
me.
know what you mean. Yeah. Cause you have different people in your life to fulfill different roles. And this is a whole other podcast, but like I do think that your partner shouldn't be your 100% for everything. Like I like my friends for different reasons that I like my partner, but for the most part, when it comes to emotional support, I am probably going to go to Max, but also when I need to talk about him, I go to my girlfriends. I need them.
If we got tea about our significant others, we need someone.
Exactly. Someone else says, ultimately, Liz knows what she wants and it's up to her on how she does it. Burdening yourself with comparisons with others and overdoing it with the research won't help, though. Also, Maggie is right about the odd socks. What? It really depends on what the socks were.
This is all about the socks.
It's all about the socks.
The whole thing.
Maggie sounds like she has Liz's best interest at heart, but she needs to accept that Liz has every right to prioritize what she believes will make her happy. She says she would love Liz to stay focused on herself, but to me, it sounds like she is. Maggie just doesn't agree with her choice. Yeah. The harder Liz pushes to find the one, the more difficult it will be. She should cut herself some slack, take some time away from apps, and see if she meets anyone, quote, in the wild. It sounds like she has an otherwise great life living with Maggie, so try to get the most fun from that. After all, nothing lasts forever.
Also, like, are these real people? Like, can we write into one of these right now and give our opinions?
Yeah, you could. And
I feel like this would be fun. Can we find one where we can just like write in and be like, oh, this is our opinion?
Yeah, I think it's like the active ones. Like, because here it says last week results. If it says 50% said Tom said yes, 50% said he's innocent. So I think it's like on the day you can be like writing in / like voting on them.
Okay.
I haven't dived too deep into them yet, but all right, so let's pick a side.
I am on Liz's side, but I have some hesitations about it. Just because I don't like the approach she's taking to dating. I don't like that she just has a goal and she has a means to an end. And she's gonna date, but at the same time, it's like that's her prerogative. Like she can do that if she wants to. I think that Maggie is being a little overbearing as a friend. It's okay to have a best friend. It's okay to, you know, like have your opinions about their life, but you can't interfere and say like this is what should be happening or like you need to do this, you need to do this. You can't like control that when you're in a friendship like that. You have to let them live their life and be there when they need you. Give them advice if they need you to give advice, but at the end of the day, like Liz is gonna do what she wants to do, which is have babies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. I think I'm on Liz's side too. I do understand Maggie not wanting her friend to just always be prioritizing men. But Liz, she wants a man. She wants a baby. Like she's on a mission. So I think back off, leave her alone. I guess you can tell her that you want to spend more time with her, but then set up days where you can have girl nights or something like that.
Exactly.
Like then you need to put in just as much effort to make the friendship flourish because honestly, it's kind of nice to have a roommate that isn't around that much. Then you got the place to yourself. That sounds amazing.
That's how
So
I've always
enjoy
felt.
it. Enjoy it. All right, we're going to wrap it up. My wife, 30F, and I, 32M, have been together for 4 years and currently have a 16-month-old daughter. We both split work 50-50, and despite this, I acknowledge how it is more physically challenging for her with the postpartum phase and constant regressive now breastfeeding. Our daughter cluster feeds and doesn't like the bottle very much, so that's that. I am also very pro therapy, so regardless of any evaluations, I encourage her to attend a few sessions, and she and her therapist both agreed that she does have postpartum depression. I am letting everyone know this because I really want to be able to find a way to talk sense into her without putting all of it on depression. My wife and I had a huge fight over something. She said that she is tired of feeling like a mom and wants to take a vacation for 4 weeks with her friend who is based in Europe. Her reasoning for going for 4 weeks is that she wants to earn it after childbirth and 1.5 years of being a mom. She also says she has her own savings and how she has always dreamt of exploring Europe. So this is her chance and she wants her identity back. I disagreed with her and told her that her priorities are bound to change and she cannot expect to have a single life back. I would happily step up and take on her share of childcare if she wanted to do a weekend trip or a day spa and would fully support that. Apparently that's not enough for her. I told her that if she wants to really do something about her savings, it would be great if we could do something, maybe as a couple or family together, because I also deserve a break as much as she does. I told her how selfish it was choosing to spend her savings entirely on herself when I nearly exhausted my personal savings into a family expense, which was a van. I told her I cannot fathom the idea of a mom wanting to be away from her toddler for nearly a month and almost shamed her for it. And it was making things difficult for me because I realistically would have to exhaust my PTO and be both mom and dad to our baby for a whole month. I told her I cannot stay in a relationship with someone who cannot compromise with me on this. She started crying and told me she wants to feel like herself again. And I told her she can definitely do something this weekend as well, but her propositions are highly unrealistic. It seemed that she does not want to accept things as they are. I suggested maybe she could get into therapy. Can someone please share what I should say to her?
Can I first start off, like, before we talk about anything else, about saying this is why I'm terrified of breastfeeding? That whole, like, first section of it where she's, like, talking
Mm.
about how she is going through nightmares breastfeeding. That's why I don't want to breastfeed. Okay.
And she doesn't
Also,
want her nipples to look different.
well, yeah,
There's that.
exactly. Pretty much exactly. Also, I'm a conspiracy theorist. I need seed oils and toxic chemicals to be taken out of baby formula before I will have a kid. So that's another deciding factor.
Oh, well, you could also buy breast milk online. Have you heard about that? Like other people's breast milk.
I'm gonna have
What are
to
you
I'm gonna
weirded out
have
by
to
that?
ponder on that one.
I've actually tried my friend's breast milk
Oh, I've
before.
had breast
You
milk before.
have?
Yeah, for sure.
Where?
I was at a wedding and I had my friend.
What?
I was at a
Were
wedding
you
and I
making espresso martinis with
no,
the breast milk?
she was just breastfeeding and I was joking around with her husband. Her name's Gailey, and I was like, "Have you had her breast milk?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "I want her breast milk," and she's like, "Okay, have a shot." And like she
Yeah.
like gave me a little bit of it, and
It
I
was
had a shot, and I was like,
sweet.
"Yeah, it's sweet.
Yeah, I
It's
had my
nice.
friends. I just
It's
tried it when she
nice."
was feeding her baby with a bottle that she had pumped before. I'm like, let me get a little sip of that.
Yeah.
And it's good for you.
It is. It's good for you. And that's maybe one of the main reasons why I feel bad about not breastfeeding because I know it's very good for the baby, but maybe it's another thing where I'm just being too conceited
also-
or vain.
Yeah, it's hard though. It's hard. It's hard.
I have very sensitive nipples, okay? Very sensitive.
Well, you could always change your mind too. You never know.
I
Because yeah, I
could.
don't like how
Yeah.
formula. I didn't realize it had all that bad
It
stuff in
has a
it. That
lot of toxic stuff
sucks.
in it, and
Damn.
I'm hopeful it's gonna get phased out, but we'll see.
Yeah, but we also just eat toxic shit all the time anyway as
Very
humans.
true. Very true.
But little babies, actually, they're more resilient than we are, I think.
Well, yeah. So they would flush it out of their system
Yeah,
almost immediately. So I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't
there
be
you
that
go.
worried. I don't know.
But I totally understand this woman like feeling like she wants to like get out there in the world
Yeah.
but and maybe she didn't have the foresight beforehand and maybe this was an unplanned pregnancy, but this would have been wonderful to do before you had a baby.
Yeah. I sympathize with the husband on this one because he's like exhausting all of his options at this point.
4 weeks is a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And you're breastfeeding. Like, don't you have to wean? You have to wean a baby off of
Yeah.
breast milk and breastfeeding. Like, you have to
Yeah.
get them on the bottle. And maybe her plan, did she mention that? Like, was to do that ahead of time?
Yeah. I don't know if she was going to pump and then like say it, but you
I
can
guess
only
they would
pump
just,
so much.
yeah. And they would, I guess, for that 4 weeks, he would just feed her formula. It seems like she is like having a little bit of a mentee bee here. Like,
Midlife crisis.
yeah, like postpartum depression is really getting to her. She wants to feel like herself again. Again, that's one of my fears of like losing
PPD
who
is
I
not a
am.
joke.
And my mom is like, don't put that out into the universe saying that. But like, I know I'm very sensitive to hormones, and I am really afraid that I'm gonna have PPD. Like, I
Same.
just knowing me and my depression, and my hormones and how bad I was on birth control. I'm like, I have a feeling I'm going to do that. And I'm really, really afraid of that because I look forward to having kids so much and I've always wanted kids, but that's a really big fear of mine. And that something like this would happen.
It's a big fear of mine too. Like it's no joke. And I feel like some people kind of brush it to the side as being like, well, you can suck it up. You can't. You really can't. And there's also, babies that have colic, which Shannon had colic. So I'm like very nervous that our babies will have colic, which is like where they, have tummy issues and they cry nonstop. And I'm very
Yeah,
scared.
I know. You guys.
You guys, help us, please.
I know. Please reassure us. Anyone.
Leave some comments
Send
and
help.
let us know how you got through this, okay?
But yeah, like to then like go and spend your money when he put his personal savings
Yeah.
into like buying the van. And I know that, he's like, I deserve a break too. And like, I think women are and naturally do a lot more work when it comes to the babies, but he would have to be working. I mean, I don't know how they plan on affording this.
I
Like,
know.
they're
That's
gonna
what I
need
was gonna say. I was like,
childcare. It's just not really like realistic. Like, I feel like that's why I feel like she's not really thinking clearly.
yeah.
Because you didn't set up any plans to wean your child off of breast milk. They're only a year and a half. Where are you getting the money for childcare? I just think, as he said, she needs a nice long weekend with her girls or something. Like, I think she does need some kind of a break. But honestly, I've heard this from so many of my friends that have kids, is like, you really miss your kids so much when you're away, even for a day. So I think she would get there. Like, the idea of it sounds so like romanticized in her mind, like a month traveling, backpacking in Europe together with my girlfriend. But I think the reality would be like, she gets there and she'd be like, holy fuck, like, what am I doing?
Yeah. And I've heard that too. And I've seen it firsthand where we'll go on vacations with couples that have kids, like very young kids, and they're like, we just miss our kids. And I really hope that's me one day.
She does not have high hopes for herself over
I have
here.
high hopes about it. I couldn't picture it right now, but I have high hopes, okay, you guys?
All right, well, we do have an update. I sat my wife down and told her that, again, I don't feel comfortable with her being on a different continent for such a long period of time. I feel this would not be good for our daughter and our marriage. I do not make decisions for her, but I would also take steps to ensure that there were going to be consequences if she doesn't take my opinion into consideration.
Consequences.
I know. Oof. After all, this decision to spend so much money and be away from the household, me stepping up entirely and exhausting my PTO needs 2 yeses. Oh, okay. So maybe he would be taking the time off.
Yeah.
But 4 weeks, does anyone even have 4 weeks PTO?
No.
Not in the
I don't know
States.
anyone. I don't know
No.
anyone that has 4
No.
weeks PTO.
Mm-mm. If she chooses to go, she may come home to a daughter, but not a welcoming husband. This will permanently change our relationship, and might not be interested in continuing it with her, who can so easily abandon her family. As for that wound, she would be the only one responsible. Before anyone scolds me again for being harsh, let me tell you I tried my best to be empathetic to her situation and offered compromises, but she just wouldn't listen, even rejected therapy many times. At this point, she was growing very anxious to the point that she started crying. I calmed her down and told her that we need to fix whatever issues we have, and it is glaringly obvious that she needs to take a break too. For that, first, she is going to cut off our toddler from her breasts to give her that first step in feeling like herself. That's good. Secondly, she would have to agree to travel domestically and compromise on traveling for no more than 12 to 14 days, with the condition that I get to have a similar break too at a later time. And I won't use my own funds. And I won't use my own funds. What does that mean? That she would have to pay for his break? Why are you guys
I
just
have
paying
no
for
idea.
shit together? I'm so
This
whatever.
is very confusing to me.
Lastly, she needs to get into therapy for more comprehensive evaluation for postpartum depression because I do not feel comfortable with her mental state right now, whatever it may be. She wasn't just fantasizing about the Europe trip, but actually began drawing up plans. I let her know that this has dented my trust in her as a parent and partner, and she would need to introspect and make improvements accordingly. If I still feel weird about this, we may need couples counseling too to reestablish the trust. After all, asking me to sacrifice my PTO, step up for the month, and have funds that the family has the first right over was a big ask. I still don't feel comfortable with how easily she was willing to give up her duties, and I need time to process things myself. Someone says here in the comments of the original post, he said his wife agreed to the second option, meaning like the Europe trip is canceled. She'll take a shorter domestic trip. Oh, and go to therapy and possibly marriage counseling. Okay, that's good that she agreed to that. Because, yeah,
Good.
I do think like being overseas, like it can be like it's much harder to get back if there's an emergency. The time difference, getting a hold of one another is a lot more difficult. So I think like a domestic trip, I mean, I think him suggesting 2 weeks is pretty generous.
I think it's very generous. I don't know
And
what I'd do with myself in 2 weeks, honestly.
I mean, it would be hard to just single parent for that long. I honestly think that they need to start with a girls' trip away.
Mhm.
Take a long weekend, 3-day
But not 2
weekend,
weeks. Like,
not 2 weeks.
take
I think start
yeah.
with a fun weekend with your girlfriends. Go to Palm Springs, go somewhere warm, go somewhere where you can like party a little bit, let loose, whatever it is that you need to feel yourself cuz she's only 30. Like she's still quite young where you're still wanting to do that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think go and have fun, let loose and then come back and see how you feel. Maybe you need to
Yeah.
schedule that like every 2 months or something where
Mhm.
you at least do a girls' night out at the
Mhm.
very least.
Yeah, I'm very I'm torn on this one, to be honest, because I will say the guy's kind of coming off like an asshole in his like updates and stuff where he's like, "Well, I gave her the option to do this or this," or like
So
whatever. But
he's like sounding like her dad.
yeah, but I also get like you just had a baby and you should probably not be taking 4-week vacations
Oh, yeah.
away.
I think it is too long. And I do think wrapped up with that her doctor had diagnosed her therapist had diagnosed her with PPD,
Hmm.
that she is definitely going through something.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it is a little bit more of a big deal. And I understand him wanting to kind of like lay out to her, like, these will be the consequences of your actions if you X, Y, and Z, as harsh as that can be. But I don't really love the way he's talking to her. And I understand why she's upset.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard. This situation is really difficult.
I honestly do not know how to I would not know how to like navigate the situation. I hope that I don't have to go through PPD. I'm terrified of that as well. And
Take a shot for how many times we've said terrified and scared.
terrified. Yeah, please.
You guys are going to be trashed. Let's see. Let me see if there's any comments. As someone who's had PPD, it's so hard to see the logical, sensible thing to do. But the first step is definitely therapy and medication. It helps so much. I am grateful I had an understanding husband, but at the time, I just felt so exhausted, overwhelmed, and useless that I couldn't see straight. Everyone is different, so I'm not suggesting she's the same. But dads need support too. I found it easier to talk to a stranger who wasn't emotionally involved and therefore didn't react to my thoughts the same way as a family member would. Hold on in there. She'll get back to her old self. This is a chemical reaction she can't help. The woman you fell in love with is there and is probably trying hard to make sense of everything too. Remember though, happy parents equal happy child. Having to live with a depressed parent can harm the child more than living apart.
No pressure at all.
I know.
If you're depressed, your child's going to be depressed. Like that's not that encouraging. But I
No,
will
and you can't help being
yeah.
happy sometimes. But I think what she's trying to say there is like, don't be threatening to leave her with this
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Like, I think it is like,
Exactly.
she's saying like, this is a chemical imbalance that's happening to her. Like, the woman's still in there. Don't look at her differently, because he is being like, I don't know that I can look at her the same anymore. And that's the other thing that I'm worried about too, where it's like, I just feel like, what if I make some mistakes that,
Well,
you
I'm already
know,
on antidepressants, so like I don't know what I don't
yeah.
know what I would do if I got
I
PPD.
know. Can you be on them when you're pregnant? Do you know? Did they say anything about that?
I can be on the ones that I'm on.
Okay.
They're mild enough. I don't know if I'm going to do that,
Yeah.
but we'll see. We'll see when the time comes. But like I'm saying, like after,
Yeah. And then you could go back on.
like I don't know.
Hello, Zoloft. Is that
I'm
what
on
it is?
Zoloft.
Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
I'm
Yeah.
on
I
Zoloft.
guessed right. Perfect.
I don't know. They might just need to put me under. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
For real. Put me in a coma.
Uh,
Drop me off in Europe.
I am dark humor all day. I'm like, give me all your dark jokes about pregnancy, please. And people think I'm so messed up, and I'm just like, no, like
No, I need it.
I need it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, I guess, that they solved it. Seems like she's happy to go on this other domestic trip for 2 weeks. Maybe that will then, maybe that can show her that she doesn't want to go on a month away. Like 2 weeks can be a long time, and maybe it'll be enough for her.
Well, yeah, she's gonna miss her baby, and she's gonna be like, I'm missing key moments, which
Mm.
I think is the biggest thing when parents travel away from their children. They're like, I'm gonna miss like something that they
Yeah.
do
Yeah,
for
their
the
first
first time.
words or their
Yeah,
first steps.
yeah. So that's the thing. But I get like needing a break.
And I think it is fair for him to get a break too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Shannon, are we more comfortable with being pregnant now or no?
I think it might be worse, to be honest.
That's what I was gonna say.
You guys, please write in and give us encouraging thoughts.
We're trying really hard.
Thoughts and prayers our way.
We want the children. We're just kind of scared about the whole process, okay? Like if any women relate, like please let us know, cuz it's hard. It's hard to actually talk about this stuff.
Yes. But thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for joining me, Jess.
Yeah, of course. I had such a blast.
This was so much fun. We are going to go party our little childless booties off
While we can.
while we can. And thank you guys so much for listening. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. You can watch on YouTube or listen wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can't spell drama without D.